U.S. Army Corps Engineering. U.S. Army Corps Engineering. TI 850-02, Air Force AFMAN 321125-1, March 2000, 2000. Technical instructions for railroad design rehabilitation. Chapter 5, Chapter 5, Rehabilitation Track, Bridges, and Terminals. 1. Definition application. Using the rehabilitation refers to the work follows between the routine maintenance and the new construction. It is often categorized as a repair, minor construction combination of 2. Rehabilitation involving restoring facilities in like new conditions and upgrading existing facilities to current design standards or installation requirements. During the planning of the process and the current future installation requirements should be first clearly established. If subsequent investigations analysts show that the existing facilities could meet installation requirements through improving their condition and minor modifications, the rehabilitation is an appropriate option. 2. Installation requirements and facility evaluation. Installation traffic load carrying requirements should be reviewed as described in Chapter 2. These then structural operational requirements should be checked according to the criteria of Chapter 6, 7, and 8. The purpose of evaluation should be to determine whether the track facilities meet installation mission requirements and, if not, what respect they are deficiency. The determinations are made through condition structural operational evaluations. 3. Condition evaluation. Level of detail required. Condition evaluation may occur in 3 stages of the levels depending on the size, scope, and the project. 1. At first stage, quick condition assessment may be appropriate based on a recent inspection reports and inventory information of the brief field survey. The assessment may be used to establish a general need of rehabilitation. 2. A second stage may be an evaluation of developing rehabilitation plans. The information will be sufficiently detailed to determine what needs to be done at which locations, develop cost estimates for the planning and the budget purposes. 3. A third level exact work requirements, quantities, locations is determined by the final contract plans and specifications. B. The track. Track conditions should be based on the criteria even in the Army TM 5628 or Air Force Regulation 9144 as well as other major rehabilitation requirements. The evaluation should allow the major deficiencies that are likely to occur within the next 3 to 5 years if rehabilitation is not performed. 2. The current track deficiency should be recorded on a field report showing an example of the type of turnout inspection forms commonly collected. Other available forms designed to the routine maintenance requirements may be used and convenient. Alright, the turnout inspection, installation, reporting, organization, inspector, printing type of the signature, track identification, turnout identification, date, the general area, material, proper type, rail, same weight, and section of flange weight, clear of debris, and area clear of debris, or surface, or yes or no, or note, to note, surface alignment, good, fair, poor, or note. Frog. If the frog is in point, services, point top, service, bolts, or guarding face, self-guarded frog only. If they're okay, worn, chipped, damaged, broken, loose, missing, or note. Ties. Total number of defective number of the consecutive defective number of occurrences and defective joint ties in average time. Tie spacing less than 22 inches. Yes or no. If the ties, right, how many times the total number, the maximum number of the consecutive defective, the occurrence of defective joint ties, or note. Guard rails, position straight, turnout, okay, proper or note. Improper or note. Condition straight or turnout, okay, insecure, broken, damaged or note. Filler straight or turnout, okay, loose, broken, or damaged or note. Bolt straight, okay, loose, damaged, missing or note. Turnout, okay, loose, damaged, missing or note. Switch stands. Switch operates with difficulty. Yes, no. Describing the note. Which switch stands? Okay. Insecure, damage, note. Point lock lever and latch is okay. Missing, damage or note. Point gap left and right. Note that the less than 1/8 of an inch, 1/8 of an inch greater, 1/4 of an inch greater, or note. Proper condition left or right. Okay. Worn, chip, broken or note. Is the point lower than the stock rail? Left, yes, no. Right, yes, no. Note, if there's the point beyond the taper higher than the stock rail. Light, yes, no. Right, yes, no. Or note. Connection, okay. Bent, damaged, loose, binding, note. Jam nut, okay. Damaged, loosened, missing, note. Switch rods, okay, bent, damaged, loose, binding, note. Switch clips, okay, bent, damaged, loose, binding, and note. Connection rod, bolt and nut on top, okay, yes, loose, damaged, mission, note. Yet on nut on top, yes, no. Current key in place, yes or no. Switch rod bolts, okay, loose, damaged, missing, or note. Note on the top, yes, no. Center cotter keys in the place, or yes or no. Side plates, okay, loose, damaged, missing, dirty, or note. Rail braces, okay, loose, damaged, and missing, note. Turnout side, okay, loose, damaged, missing, note. Heel filler, if present, okay, ensure cracked or broken, or note. Heel bolts, okay, loose and damaged or missing, note. Heel joint bar, shoulder bars, okay, loose and cracked or broken, or note. And also measurement in inches of the turnout side, straight side and turnout side of the switch gauge ahead of the points. Switch straight side and turnout side of the curved closure rail gauge joints. Straight and turnout side of the frog gauge point, flange width to flange depth, guard rails, guard check gauge, guard face gauge, flange weigh notes or notes for the measurements and notes for the switch and standing. Okay, if the records of the internal rail inspection are more than 3 years old, the new inspection should be made before the rehabilitation is completed. All turnouts in the track extended to the rehabilitation should be received through inspection, including operation the points. C. Bridges. Railroad rehabilitation will include continued condition assessment of the bridges. Any line between the railroad rehabilitated assessment may come in the last annual inspection if the inspection is less than 6 months old. Otherwise, new condition assessment will be done. 2. If the tri-annual inspection is done due to the 6 month for any of the bridge on line to be rehabilitated, the tri-annual inspection load rating per Chapter 5 and Paragraph 4 will be done on the rehabilitation plan. If the last annual indicates a significant change in condition of main bridge of members since the previous load rating was done, at least include the spans or spans. The bridge will be thoroughly inspected, load rated in per Chapter 5, Paragraph 4 as part of the rehabilitation plan. Terminal and support facilities. The condition of all terminal support facilities should also be evaluated. Evaluation may be done and reported separate from the track evaluation. 4. Structural evaluation. To determine the current load of the capacity, the structural evaluation will be performed on all tracks, bridges, loading ramps, and other structures needed for the railroad terminal operations. Track structural evaluation should be done by the use of a computer described in Appendix C. Bridges. Load carrying capacity of the railroad line is often determined by the design capacity presenting conditions of bridges along the route. All bridges have not been thoroughly inspected load rated but the previous 3 years will be examined and rated by a pre-existing railroad and bridge engineer. The rating will be done in accordance with the REMA manual of timber bridges, concrete bridges, and steel bridges. Most military railroad bridges convenient to timber design built in the E60 rating. If these bridges are very good in condition, the capacity is sufficient with the typical military traffic levels, including handling of 140-ton heavy equipment flat cars. By the REMA rating guidelines, the in-service rating bridges in very good condition may actually exceed their design rate. Additional material on the bridge's design ratings such found in Chapter 7, Paragraph 2. 5. Operational evaluation. To determine suitability for the mission and requirements that operational evaluation performed by the track facilities. The evaluation should be checked for the track facilities capability as well as the basic geometry requirements, including number of loading service tracks along the usable car capacity of each. Car capacity of storage yards and auxiliary tracks, clearance, load ramp height and width and ramp angle, size parking, staging areas, size storage buildings and terminal areas, track geometry, minimum track curvature, minimum turnout size, protection visibility at road crossing. For the terminal adequacy, lighting service road security features should be evaluated for all tracks, and adequacy of the drain should be checked. Previous derailment sites and chronic problems should be included in the evaluation. The rehabilitation plan. Purpose of the content rehabilitation plan is used in part to justify the needs of the recommended worker, thus demonstrates a thoughtful analysis of existing facilities combined with a clear understanding of the minimum mission requirements. The plan should include the stating and installation requirements that describe the track facilities and other conditions, state deficiencies based on condition, structural, and operational evaluations. 4. A work plan of remedial action is current deficiencies include an explanation of why the purpose action were chosen on over the alternatives. 5. The cost estimate of each type of the work plan. Each of these items is discussed below. The Appendix C contains the example track rehabilitation report. Simple format would also be used for bridges and terminal and support facilities. Appendix C presents realistic rehabilitation requirements to illustrate how to work on the rehabilitation as commonly done. This plan, particularly its subsequently description of the work, should be studied and used to guide in preparing rehabilitation plans. Mission requirements. There are current expected future needs for the regular traffic training, the exercise mobilization, including the amount of type of the cargo number and the type of the railroad cars to be handled. Terminal and support requirements. See the design and track of the bridges and facility. This includes a written description of the facilities and their condition along with the track maps and photographs. It is not previously done. Each track of the bridge and turnout should be assigned to the unique number or other designation. Each track should be marked in the standard survey station to help determine the work materials quantities for the track lengths, work locations to provide permanent reference location marks of the future track inspection. General track station should start at 0 plus 00 at the point of the switch of the track branches from the main track or the for a main track at the point where the government ownership begins a connection over the servicing commercial carriers. Deficiency list and analysis. The section should include a description of major decisions found and the explanation of these conditions interfere with the prevent facilities effectively supporting the required mission. As part of the explanation, comparison existing facilities recommended design criteria can be useful. Photographs should be included to help develop document deficiency. A work plan. The work plan includes a listing of recommended remedial actions correcting deficiencies along with the listed of intended work limits. The section of rehabilitation plan should also clarify these actions chosen with where appropriate advantages benefits have other alternatives. For example, short and structural analysis indicates the need for heavier rail section. Eliminating lighter rail, often installation standardized with only 1 to 2 rail select sections, requiring fewer sections to become at maintenance requirements, perhaps eliminating a section from which joint bars additional piece of rail are hard to find. If a rehabilitation were to also serve the final plans, contracting specifications in the work plan must be included with all details work to be done. When appropriate, plans should also allow the eliminating the need of the possibility of reusing the track elsewhere, everywhere. Installation. When the traffic structural requirements are lower, the cost-effective sales and transfer to another installation, disposal, scrap, and salvage materials. For the rehabilitation, the track should be re-gauged. Existing gauge less than 50 is if the existing gauge is less than 56 and a quarter inch or greater than 57 inches. Cost estimates for the plan of the major rehabilitation. Cost estimates based on the existing major working items, extra allowance, minor work at locations, additional minor working with the major locations work categories. Rehabilitation plan is done one stage. The cost estimates to serve the contractual plans and specification. In the case of the cost estimate broke down are more detailed. 7. Final plans and specification. Detailed work plan for a final contractual plan specification. All work must be spelled out in detail. The previous done through the inspection should conducted for all include the facilities to assure correctness and work requirements for work locations, work material and quantities. Marking parts to be replaced. At this time, all ties, joint bars, bridge members, and other components intended for the replacement should be individually marked as well as the limits for all work conditions. When marking defective, especially ties, bridge members, and switch points and frogs, those items are marginal condition or less than 3 to 5 years additional life should be included and a mark to be replacement. See the top of a rail profile. When the ballast is added to the track and the track is raised in 3 inches or more, the top of the rail profile elevation along the top of the rail is 50 to 200 foot. Intervals should be taken and final surface can be checked. The profiles will also help with estimating ballast quantities, especially used for the existing track surface pour. As many as low areas will be needed to raise the more average to restore the smooth final surface. 2. Initial top of the rail profiles may be useful to the track along loading docks to ensure proper carload floor height of the dock. Top of the rail profiles should be taken whenever overhead clearance are tight. Drainage profiles and cross sections before final plans estimated made ditch profiles. Cross sections should be taken to determine the final ditch gradients. Check the earthwork quantities. These profiles are also needed to specify exact work to be done to go either contractor work into the field. Handling scrap and salvage material. Rehabilitation contract specifications should require scrap rail and other track materials to be neatly stacked and/or bundled as a designated storage area to later disposal. Likewise, salvage rail and OTM should be separated by type of the weight and stacked and categorized and stored in a designated area, reusing installation shipment to another installation. If scrap materials are retained by the contractor, the cost credit of the amount of scrap should be received by the government. The cost credit should be equal to the fair scrap value less than a small amount of the handling transportation material. Construction's on-site inspections. Quality on-site inspection during all remedial work, essential element of the successful track rehabilitation. When inspection is currently not a substitute for the professional done the track work, it is an effective means of ensuring that all work in fact is performed according to the contractor's specification. On-site inspection during rehabilitation work and discover deficiencies effective where difficult detecting during a completion inspection, expensive to correct, discovered only after the works are completed. Such items include: 1. Was all the excess vegetation removed from the ballast when unloaded? 2. Were the track crossings was to completely rebuild the old ballast completely stripped with the subgrade properly graded? Was the drainage fabric installed? Were all new ties installed? 3. Did the track actually receive a full 3-inch raise, or were the rough spots just smoothed out? Was every tie tamped, and did each tie get in 2 insertions by the tamper? Did the joints on the joint side get an additional 3rd insertion? Likewise, correctly follow the items of the work has been done by the difficulty at best. A tie ballast and material are not specified in the contract. Old or fouled ballast is shoulders not fully plowed out before the new ballast was unloaded. C. Culvertly in proper position, site not graded properly before culvert was installed. D. The defective concrete, insufficient reinforcing loading ramp. It is recommended that the work inspect the same people who design the specifications. Chapter 6, Track and Roadway Design.